We all rise to the flag, please. Lead, leaders. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
To approve the minutes of April 4th, 2023, regular meeting as presented.
Support. What's been made and supported. Everyone had a chance to look it over. Any changes? Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Just give me a holler if you can. My wife says I mumble all the time, so maybe she's right. We'll see. Come on. Decorum. Next we have public comment. Can I make public comment? Come forward, please.
Here in Bridgeport. I'm here to raise a concern that we've heard about an apartment building being used differently than for family use. Okay. We can't hear. We can't hear you.
Yeah, hear you.
Oh, turn the microphone on. Is it on?
I don't know.
There you go. Get a little closer to it, Ed.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Last time I was here, I had to tell you about this.
Now you're getting too close to it.
I'm getting too close. I live in Southwood Village. Southwood Village is a neighborhood association, a neighborhood of homeowners, and there's some apartments in there, and also some apartments. I can speak about it. And also some apartments, and also a nursing home is in that vicinity. We all made Bridgeport our homes. We lived there for, I guess, over 40 years now, since I've been living there. But we would like to see the stability of the neighborhood. We'd like to see the apartments that's there to remain a use for families, whereas a person rents the apartment and related people live there. Or at least one person owns the apartment. If you have some guests there, you can have guests there. But we did not, and the rumor we're getting for this apartment building in 2864 is going to be changed for use where people, unrelated people will be allowed to go there and stay for a short period of time. Almost like a rooming house where people will come in, stay for a while, and leave. Whereas apartment somewhat of a long-term agreement where people make a lease, have a lease, or some long-term agreement with the landlord. We don't like the idea of it changing to a short-term lease, short-term use, where basically maybe it could be used whereas people would be paying rent to have a bed there in the apartment building. So the use of the apartment building would change from what it is. I know when you establish an apartment building, you are concerned about parking, how much parking you have. You're concerned about other things that are related to apartment building. Now, I don't know if you start allowing multiple use of different people, unrelated people coming in, there's going to be issues. And I don't know how you have people who are coming in with short term, like going to a rooming house, a motel, etc. How you deal with those kind of issues. That's the point I'm making. But we would like to see, and also there are people, we don't want to start a precedent where a person can buy a home, which just has tried to happen, where they would take this home and subdivide bedrooms up to use it as a rooming house, where they can rent to people on a short-term basis. That attempt has been made. And I think with this kind of precedent, if this precedent is being made, we aren't looking at the permanency of the neighborhood, making sure that things are settled. Whereas a family can come, we want to be a renter, can come and rent an apartment and stay there for some period of time and have some stability, not just people coming for short periods of time and different people coming in short periods of time, almost like transient kind of stuff. So we like this stability, which makes our neighborhood more stable for families. And that's the kind of use we'd like to see this kind of apartment stay that way, and any other apartment stay that way, unless you have some guidelines for this kind of use. So
have we had any conversation with anyone else about this?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
We didn't know who was doing this, what, anything beyond that, or?
Mainly the people in the apartment. The neighbor told me the people in the apartment were told they had to leave because they're going to change this over to some kind of rehab.
They told you.
I'm talking about third hand, so.
Who is they?
Why don't you say the owner?
Say again?
The people who bought the apartment. Do you know the name of the person who bought the apartment?
What I've heard from your staff here at the church, the person at the church bought the apartment. Okay.
That's a fact.
And
I
that's
believe
what I
there's
heard.
some people here tonight from the First Baptist Church.
Yes, they are.
If you could give them a couple of minutes, they'd be willing to come up and explain this.
Sure.
I mean, if you're done, fine.
Okay. I'd like to hear more detail because
Yeah, I understand.
I'd like to have more detail and maybe react to it. There's some others here that like to react to the details also.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, okay. Let me just say this. There are some others who'd like to speak, so I guess we'll wait and see what's going on. If that's the case, that's going to be possible.
That's what we're here for, as a listener.
Thank you. No. I think he's have a presentation, then others can speak, right?
Are the people from the church here? Yeah, okay, here.
I can talk this way, I can talk that way.
You're flying right there.
Okay. I'm J.D. Howell. I'm the pastor of First Baptist Church, and we did purchase that apartment complex on Galaxy, 2064 Galaxy. Bought it with the purpose to use it as a place to help men get right back in society and be a productive citizen. I've been in Bridgeport since 1991. I've been at First Baptist Church since for 22 years. And I love this community, love this township. I've lived on South Airport, lived on Williamson. I've run tons of miles through Southfield. Love that area. But as a pastor, I love to help people. And of course, we came down, I did my due diligence on the property and made sure with Jamie and the zoning and Ron, with all those things, that everything was exactly what, didn't ask for any special variance, didn't ask for anything different, just made sure that it was done exactly properly. The purpose of the facility will be to help men, and it is not a, quote, transient program. In fact, I brought 2 men tonight with me. One is the man who leads the housing, that's Brad Dalton, and then Danny Erickson, who's been with us for 8.5 years, which by any standard in any neighborhood would be a very long-term individual. And these men are required to work. They are, some have dealt with drugs in the past, some dealt with alcohol, some with anxiety, some with PTSD, some with weight problems, all issues that we, through a faith-based recovery, help them gain some freedom and victory, and we've seen success. Most men stay between 6 months and a whole year, some even longer than that, 8.5 years, and that's not uncommon. These men, this is not, we've had other houses through Saginaw and other areas. This is not uncommon that people are like, what is going on? And we found, in fact, when we had to relocate the last house, the neighborhood at the end was like, this is great, we're so glad. These men, are, because of the program, are under very stringent expectations. They have to get up at a certain time, they have to spend time in the Bible, then they have a meeting a few times a week, they're in church 3 times a week, they'll exercise, they'll go on runs. They're drug tested regularly. In fact, in our house, there's probably less drug and alcohol than the majority of homes in this area. Just as a general practice, because it's that stringent, the expectations that high. These men work a job and they become productive citizens of society. Very stringent. If they don't hold to those things, then they're asked to leave. They have to apply the process. And so when I first came to First Baptist Church, this recovery program was in its infancy. And I remember that some people at the church had the same reaction, like, what's going on? What is this like? This is not good. But to see the Lord do a work and find men, to find some victory and freedom, and to become these. We've seen marriages put back together again, dads united with their kids, kids with their parents. It's incredible. And it takes a community. And I know and believe that this community, Bridgeport, can do the same thing and help us keep an eye on that. And I'm thankful for it. Thankful for the program. It touched me personally. The reason that we have this type of program at First Baptist Church is because there was one individual in that church that needed some help. It was my father. And 20 plus years later, he's now still in my church with my mom. Come to church, and I get to worship with him every week. So I've seen it firsthand, and I think that the fears will be perfectly legitimate, understood. But I think when you see the program, it's right inside the legal ramifications, and then logistically it works out great. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Gillespie?
My name is Deborah Mack, and I live in Southfield Village, and I've been in Southfield Village since the early 80s. And I'm just going to be perfectly frank. We don't want this type of thing in our neighborhood. It is a residential neighborhood. Since I've been there, we've had problems with the people in those apartments. They walk up and down Southfield all times of the night, and we just feel that this would just further exacerbate what we as residents of the neighborhood have been dealing with. And I just wanted to go on record, speaking for the Southfield subdivision, we do not want this in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I understand that this is First Baptist. Okay, you guys have a substance abuse program, right? Substance abuse program? Okay. Now, with the substance abuse program, is that for people fresh out of incarceration? Like when they come out of prison or come out of jail and they have substance abuse problems, do you house them? Are you talking about housing them?
No, I can make this question answer if you'd like to, but is that what you want to turn it to?
That's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what are you asking exactly?
I'm asking, are any of the guys coming out of jail or out of prison, rehabbing, and are they going to be staying there?
So people that are in this program are often trying to get over some type of habit. I mentioned that sometimes it's anxiety, sometimes it's PTSD from the military, it's alcohol sometimes. And sometimes...
Are any fresh out, what I'm saying is, are any of them fresh out of jail or prison, and it's a rehab house for people that are fresh out of prison?
It is not a rehab or a halfway house, if that's what you're asking. Those are separate classifications from the state. We are a faith-based recovery program.
I understand that. But I'm saying, now, are there any sexual abusers in your program?
That's a great question. I should have mentioned that before. No sexual misconduct or CSCs are permitted in any way, shape, or form inside the program. Absolutely not. And I meant to mention that before. That is a question I've got before, and zero. They're not permitted to come. We do full background checks if that's an issue, so absolutely not.
Okay, so these people will be kind of like, they'll stay maybe a month or two, and then go on?
Yeah, so I mentioned that when I was talking just now, that the program is for 6 months to a year, but this gentleman right here has been with us for 8.5 years. And there are men who have just, you know, they've been there for a while. It is not a one and done. So you're thinking of like a halfway house?
Yeah, rehab.
Correct. It is different than that. It is think of it like a boot camp in one sense.
How many men will be in there? Is it all men?
It's all men, yes. No women.
How many men will be in that building?
I think we got the zoning ordinance, I think, allows, 16, or check with Jamie, whatever number she gave to us from the township.
16? 16?
Whatever the township allows, the ordinance allows.
Are those apartments 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom?
I believe they're 2.
Well, I don't know. I'm sorry, but I don't agree with it. I just don't want it either.
I appreciate that.
My name is Juanita Fox. I live in Southfield Village. And upon hearing what the pastor said, this is a program. We don't want a program in our neighborhood. We are a residential neighborhood. We have kids there. This is a family-oriented place. To have men with issues that they're trying to work through, we can feel for that. That is not what this neighborhood is supposed to be. This is a residential neighborhood where we can feel free to walk and we don't have to worry about people with problems, hoping that they're going to be fine. He's got one example that's wonderful. And to have different people renting out rooms to stay there for 6 months, for a year, the people who are working out their problems, that is not what this neighborhood is about. We are here for families, for people to go in and rent a place to live, not to try to get over their problems. And we feel for the church, and I'm glad the church is doing it, but they don't need to be doing it in a residential neighborhood where we have children, we have families, and we don't have to worry about renting out to rooms where unrelated people are renting rooms out for whatever period of time. I am totally against this, and I'm hoping the board would maintain Southfield Village in this neighborhood. I've been there for over 40 years, and this neighborhood has worked hard to maintain the quality of life in Bridgeport. We've been maintaining our homes. We've been trying to maintain and keep Bridgeport uplifted. And we hope that Bridgeport will continue to keep us uplifted. And this example of what is trying to be done with that building is not what should be at Southfield Village.
My concern is that I think I've been there 15, 16 years, and I built my house. Okay. Bringing a house like that into the neighborhood, no offense, I know you're trying to help people, but guess what you do? You make my house in value go down. Because if I try to sell my house and they find out that you say it's not a rehab house, we can use another man. That's really what it is, trying to help someone get over their problem. It debates the value of my house. Okay, that's a concern.
The insurance bill too.
And, oh yeah, the insurance, everything will go up. And I just don't agree with it because it's a neighborhood. It's a managed neighborhood. It's individuals like me who wants to sell their house eventually and want to get fair market value. not get far, the value of my house because there's a facility there that helps people who has problems and who's trying to work through their problems. Thank God that you're trying to help them, but should you help them in our neighborhood that's been there, a middle class neighborhood? I don't think so. I'm looking at the value in my home. So I have to sell early, just so that I can truly get the value in my home before all of this takes place. I don't agree with it.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Pauline Lawrence. I live in Southfield Village at 3486 Linger Lane. I am a Christian. I believe in helping people. But I just don't think that this is the right way to help people in our neighborhood. We were able to stop this, another house attempted to put people in our neighborhood. And so we had to bring those things to you all, and we stopped that because, and we stopped those houses from coming in already done to put up. We stopped that so people would have nice homes rather than having those homes come in. We have more children moving into our neighborhood now, and it's going to be a problem. One guy from, there's a home on Dixie Highway someplace where keep these kind of people. And they were walking, I looked out, and someone had sent us a flyer with this guy's name on it. And I looked out, and there was this guy walking down the sidewalk, looking all around. And so we have a neighborhood watch group. So I called people, I said, he's in our neighborhood. I say, call somebody else. So we just tag team on calling people when things happen in our neighborhood. We are just trying to keep things together. I've been living there since 1976, and I love the neighborhood. And I try to keep everything up. After my husband passed, I just kept my things going myself, and I'm still there, keeping things going as well as I can. And I do not want to see a house like that. Not that I don't love people. I love people, you know, but I just don't think this belongs in our neighborhood. You know, Southfield Village is one of the most well-kept neighborhoods in Bridgeport Township.
That's true.
And the township should want it to stay that way, because we want it to stay that way. Now, if the township start giving out and allowing all these other things to come in, Southfield Village is going to go to the dogs, and we don't want that. Thank you. Trying to get them.
Unless you got something different, Mr. Fox.
Well, I was wanted to respond to his comments. Did I?
Go for it.
All right, I'm gonna be brief. I know that we in Southfield Village appreciate the support the township has given us over the years. We wish you continue to do that. But as you heard the comments, people are worried about market rate homes. We want market rate homes in Bridgeport. I know you have an issue this year about blight. Blight is a big issue that we've been fighting for years and years. Even when Larry King was here, he was trying to set standards in Bridgeport to follow for that. And I know the comments I made earlier, which I don't want to repeat, they sort of repeated the fact that 16 people in one apartment. I don't know what standard is being applied for that. It don't work. You got to go to work. Where's the transportation for that? I know you mentioned cars. The missions are the same thing. So I will propose of this project, and hopefully you will too, and see our concerns that we have.
Thank you.
What?
I said thank you.
My name's Brad Dalton. I am the housing director there for that program. And in listening to the concerns of the people, I just want to try the best I can to help them understand, first of all, that if I lived in their neighborhood and had something coming like this into my neighborhood, I would have the same fears they have. I certainly would. And I totally understand that. I was trying to think this afternoon, you know, how would I feel if that was moving into my neighborhood? And I do want to try to maybe set them at ease if there's any way possible to do that. First of all, by saying I want to apologize for the fact that right now sitting around the dumpster is a lot of trash where everybody moved out and they couldn't fit it all in. I do have a 20-yard rollaway that's coming in tomorrow for all that trash to be put in there and to get it out of there. I have plans for the yard to be fertilized on a regular basis and to be cut with professional equipment and kept in good shape. We want to keep the quality of the house better than what it is now on the outside. The yard, the facility. I don't like the way the carport looks right now. I'd like to see it improved a little bit, do some improvements there. So we have plans to do some things like that. As far as the guys' schedules go, they don't get home until 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening from work, and they have 3 nights a week that they're required to be at something. They don't have a lot of time to be out and about doing anything. On the weekends, they do the grocery shopping on Saturdays. They are at church twice on Sundays, and sometimes even more than that if they're involved in one of the ministries of the church. If they do leave the property, they are only allowed to leave the property by permission. They're not, and if they're found that they left the property without permission, then they are in trouble as far as being able to stay there. These guys are good guys. They have troubles just like any of us. I think if you figure that complex has 5 apartments in it, if you figure the average size of a family was 4 people, there could be 20 people living in that facility. And we're not looking at 20 people to be living in that facility. So, but I do want the best that I can as a director of that program to assure people in that neighborhood that if we are allowed to continue with the plans that we have, that we want to be your friends, we want to help you, we want to make your neighborhood better than it already is, and it's a wonderful neighborhood. And we would be honored to be able to be there.
Thank you.
Will you be over there?
I will not.
Excuse me.
You will not?
Ma'am,
Okay, go ahead.
please. Thank you. Any board members, any questions? Michelle? No, they were saying that Jamie and Ron Wheatley, our building inspector, and all that kind of stuff, have got involved with it. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Hi. Okay, loosen up. Okay. Everybody's talking. Let's talk. My staff did have a conversation with Pastor JD. Good to see you, Pastor Howe. First Baptist, and all of the residents of Southfield. Thank you all so much for coming. We have actually there was another location that was cited for this possible housing opportunity. The interesting thing about it is that the apartment complex is vacant and it's available. Now, in my thoughts and process of all of this, one thing as a township manager that I would love to see is the sense of community. I'm glad you all are here. I wish that a former meeting would have happened when the purchase was made and the residents and the church would have got together and had a conversation. The misinformation of a halfway house and not having the proper information and using this forum, which could be used for, but to sit and have conversation with your neighbor. The church is right around the corner. And I think that what we need to do as a community is talk to one another. I hear a lot of information in regards to home values and things of that nature. I don't think that our community is in a position to discriminate and be exclusive when it comes to individuals. And the reason I say that is because one thing that I do understand about creating neighborhoods
we all got issues, we all have problems. And to try to separate because of where someone lives, to me, that's a form of discrimination. And I don't think we have came here open enough to hear and have honest conversations about how can we help. Because these individuals could be very well, I mean, you talk about people that's on drugs, people that, I mean, alcohol, all of the such of the life. I mean, all of our cabinets don't have alcohol. Do we not drink? Do we not have problems? My only concern is that as a believer, not pushing my faith, I think that we sometimes lose the sight of humanity. And I believe that Bridgeport is a place that we could come together and work together and actually be a help one to another. Now, I am looking to move to Bridgeport. And I was looking at Southfield Village. And as the manager, if I was there, if I am working closely with the pastor and having conversations, and they're assuring that we're working together as a community, and we actually have the ability to actually help someone else, why not? I see you shaking your head, Ms. Fox. It's okay. These are just my thoughts, just like you have yours. My only concern is that I don't have any objections for the actual house. It does not, isn't just as an apartment as if it was an Airbnb. If someone came in and you Airbnb'd your house and they had a party in it, people will still be outside, people will still be doing whatever they do. But it will be your home, correct? So when I think of an apartment building, I think of individuals renting and leasing a space for a period of time. And what happens in the confines of your home, happens in the confines of your home until you need assistance or you need help from us. I'm willing to work with anybody, any resident, and the churches, and the businesses. But I would love to have seen this been a conversation that had happened before it came to this forum. That's just my thought. But I do believe that our team has done everything possible. It's an apartment building. And in our ordinances that we currently have do not discriminate against individuals that are renting and leasing a space. It does not have anything to talk about transient. It does not have anything to say about substance abuse. It just says that it's an apartment building that we can rent to individuals. The church has purchased the property, and they're using the property within the guidelines and the ordinance of Bridgeport Township.
Thank you. You know, just from my perspective, sometimes these things kind of snowball, if you will. All it takes is one pot stir, you know what I'm saying, to get the ball rolling and paint this terrible, terrible picture. And I'm sitting here myself thinking, don't we want to help people? I mean, if you look around the world right now, there's been a bunch of turmoil, there is, how much hate there is. And these people are trying to do something good through the church. And I'm not advocating any religion or whatever the case may be. But also, when our zoning allows something like that, you cannot say, oh, you can't do that because a couple of neighbors are upset. I'm not saying they would do that, but they could actually take us to court, and we would lose. I don't think anybody wants that to happen either. I don't know, just the sense of community, the sense of helping other people. My God, we've got so many problems in this world now, and you got a group trying to do something. And I understand your concerns. You know, I live in a nice neighborhood myself, and I don't want it to get trashed out or some people move in and just throw junk all over the place. We're working diligently right now, and I'm going to get into that in a bit, of some of the blight and some of those other issues that Michelle's got together and done an excellent job with. That I'm trying to show you something that we're going to be producing eventually. So let's try and think about more of the community. And I know you're all church-going people, Okay? And I understand what you're saying. I understand your concerns. But I don't know. No, anyone else want to make a comment on the board at all?
I hope the leadership of the Southfield Village will communicate with the leadership of First Baptist and maybe invite them to the neighborhood association meeting this month and figure out how to have a dialogue, how to move forward. I really hope their relationship is built here. This is an opportunity for us to solve this problem by dialogue, by building that relationship. He's a great guy. You all are incredible people. I know most of you. And I think that you two just need to have a conversation with each other and really flesh everything out and figure out how we can move forward as a neighborhood. That's all I have to say.
The communication happened. When the pastor contacted me for a copy of our bylaws and restrictions, there was no conversation about what it was for. It was purchasing an apartment. That opened the door. I sent it to you, correct? So I had it open. Nothing was communicated to me of what the use was going to be, what was going to change. So our doors was open. When you requested information from me, I gave it to you. But be careful on how you loosely apply the standards of an apartment.
We need some. Could I just say one more thing?
No,
please?
we're all done. I mean, unless it's something different.
It is something different.
Okay, fine.
Okay. What I want to say is that that's one of those buildings. Down a little further, there's another one. And then you go down a little further, there's another one of those same kind of buildings. Suppose all of those, now, if they get one of them, somebody else is going to come and want to get the next one and the next one. Our neighborhood will be filled with all kinds of people. And who's going to be there at night to tell them to go to bed? They're going to be out there and just, it, and that's what bothers me. It's more of those buildings there.
I understand that.
Once you open it up.
You know, there is a plus to this because those people, if they don't go there, they can move in with your neighbors if they're related or whatever. There's nothing we can do. At least here they're monitored.
But see, these are not apartments. These are rooms. It's taking away the apartment part of it. Don't say that that's not an apartment anymore. No, it's room. These people are not related that's coming into that.
We discussed it long enough. I don't think there's anything new that's going to appear in here. Let's try and work that. Please. I'm not faulty. Trust me, I'm not. I understand. I want my neighborhood, like I said, to stay nice and pleasant. You know. Okay.
I just have a question. Pastor, when is the effective date for the move in?
It is to be determined because right now we're in the process of fixing up the apartment complex. There's a number of ways. It was in disrepair. It was maintained in disrepair, left in disrepair, we're going to fix it up. And so we're hoping within a month or 2 months. 2 months would be ideal. 1 month would be ideal, maybe 2 months. But trying to fix the things inside and outside so we can raise the value.
So are you going with a total renovation?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to renovate the entire apartment?
What needs to be done? There's carpeting in place, there's painting to be done, there's exterior things, like you mentioned, some other issues of landscaping have to be done. And it depends also on funds, because it's been a hefty undertaking. I mean, it's expensive, and the previous owner was not maintaining, he wasn't maintaining the property well, to be honest. And so the church is taking on the expense, and we're
yeah, that's my concern. That's my concern because it wasn't maintained.
Exactly. You will see it'll be better because we're moving in that direction. We're compiling a list now, and other churches have actually donated to our church members have been unbelievably generous.
Are you seeking federal funds or state funds for that?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, sir.
Anything else next? Want to make public comment? One more time. Public comment, council. new officer, Melanie Turner. You can come up here, please. Yeah. Come up here and see Lee. So Lee just had some minor foot surgery, so he's not dancing tonight or anything like that. Keep it up there, you'll see what we're doing. I, Melanie Turner, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Michigan, that I will faithfully enforce the laws of this state, the ordinance of this township, and discharge the duties of the officer of Bridgeport Chapter Township Police Department to the best of my ability and preserve, protect, and defend the honor of the police department of the Charter Township of Bridgeport, obeying all the rules and regulations, carrying out all the orders lawfully given me by superior officers. Okay. Congratulations. Yeah, sure. And then you'll get your, oh, yeah, you got the little one too? Come on up here, picture. Oh, we got two little ones. There wasn't like me too. I hate mine.
Fresh out of prison, fresh out of prison, fresh out of jail. I know.
Beautiful. Awesome. Guys, on the other end.
What about us?
She's coming. She'll get you. What, did you want to make a speech too? Yes, ma'am. Welcome. Okay. Next, we have accounts payable.
I'll make a motion to approve checks number 70990 through 71066 in the amount of $249,133.42 as presented.
What's been made, supported? Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, next we have the police department report. Anything you got?
Other than calls are slightly down from last month, from 692 to 681, but I can say that it's the start of the warm weather and the summer, so calls are going to only get higher. And again, in all the areas, Southfield Village, any subdivisions, if you guys see anything suspicious, make sure you call. A lot of people in the township don't call when they see something suspicious, and it turns out to be something that should have been called out. I'm not going to comment on that. That's township, between you guys and township. That's not a police. As far as the police department goes, we respond to calls.
Thank you. Chief Nickel.
Good evening. Bridgeport Fire Department responded to 103 calls for the month of April, and to date we've responded to 417 calls for Bridgeport Township. In the manpower realm, we've actually had some pretty decent news of recent. We brought back one of our officers who was on long-term injury leave. He got his clearance just at the end of last week, so he's back on the roster. We returned another firefighter who had left us late last year with hiatus and decided last week to return. So we now have another trained firefighter back within our midst. And we will put on a brand new cadet at the end of this week. And finally, the cadet that we just had go through the academy did successfully pass, did have his formal graduation last week, and is now a full-fledged state-certified firefighter, medical first responder, hazmat responder, and he is now in full. So we had some improvement in the manpower. I do want to bring forth a very important safety factor today. We had a very close call this morning involving carbon monoxide. I can't stress enough that I highly encourage any resident to have a carbon monoxide detector or 2 or 3 within your home, just as you would a smoke detector. In this particular case, they did not have any such detectors in their home. They developed a problem with their furnace, which could happen to any one of us, rich or poor, brand new furnace or 20 years old. These things happen. Carbon monoxide is not, you cannot smell it, you cannot taste it. The symptoms of poisoning are like the flu or COVID or any number of things you could experience. They had levels so high in their home when our firefighters arrived that they had to put on their air breathing apparatus, otherwise they would have been instantly affected by it. I can tell you that this family was probably within hours to a day of worse fate. 3 of them went to the hospital to be treated. So again, they will, by their own admission, will be buying carbon monoxide detectors from here forward. And so I just cannot encourage you enough. Please keep that in mind, in addition to the fire smoke detectors and such. And so, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Next is our manager, Untitled.
I'm back. Good evening. Thank you all again for coming and being here in our midst. Just want to share some of the things that have happened that I've been engaged in. I am rapidly approaching 4 months being in this position. It has been such an enjoyable ride thus far. I have been learning a lot. And such situations that we are looking to do is to develop Bridgeport. I do would like to say that we do have new canisters, and we've been getting lots of phone calls about your new trash cans. And I know that they're very large, and they're asking you to hold those canisters for at least 30 days, and then you can call in and get a much reduced, you get a smaller size canister if you would like to. They are already number coded, and they are coded for your home. And so if they happen to disappear, just call Waste Management, and not Waste Management, Mid-Michigan Waste Authority, and they will make sure that your canister is located or replace it. We are so close to being redevelopment ready certified. We're 95% of the way there. we're looking to actually host some possible community conversations in regards to the branding and marketing aspect of Bridgeport. What would Bridgeport be known for? I would love to know what are some of the things that Bridgeport residents would like to have as far as recreation, restaurants, things for children, things that will help residents live, work, and play in Bridgeport. And that will be coming up sometime late summer, where we begin starting having those conversations with residents, because we need your input in regards to how to make Bridgeport a stop on the 75 corridor, as well as in the Mid-Michigan area. I attended the Student Neighborhood Association meeting. It was a very informative meeting. We shared a lot about the canisters and about some of their concerns that they have in the student area. I attended the first MTA conference, which is the Michigan Township Association Conference, and it was an amazing opportunity to be exposed to other townships throughout the state of Michigan. I was the only one that's in attendance, and I want to talk to the board and invite you all to join us next year in Traverse City, because I think it's a well attended conference where we can actually network and grow and see other innovative things that are happening throughout the townships, throughout the state of Michigan, smaller townships as well as larger townships. Want to welcome Melanie Turner here on our police force, and also Mike Quatter, who is our code enforcement officer. He has now joined the team under the direction of our building department, and his responsibility is to help mitigate and report different blight as well as code enforcement in our DDA area and throughout the township. And so he is working diligently under Ron Wheatley, who's over there in the corner. We want to thank him for the training that he is being offered. We also have a new code enforcement team, and that's all of our departments that are handling any form of code enforcement. So that's vehicles, building, businesses, all of it. We all are beginning to meet regularly in regards to how do we streamline the creative process that we're able to track as well as be able to report to the residents how we are mitigating and actually improving Bridgeport Charter Township. And so on this Friday, we're actually meeting with Southfield Neighborhood Association in regards to some of their concerns and how to work with our code enforcement team. So we're looking forward for that. So anyone at Southfield, you have questions or concerns or wanted to know how we're planning to work with you all when it comes to blight and code enforcement, you're more than welcome to join us at 10 o'clock on the 5th.
You just now announcing this meeting, we didn't know about it.
I got a reply from from people from Southfield. Yeah. I'll give you the email.
I read all the emails.
I'm sorry?
I read all the emails from Bridgeport.
We didn't hear about it. We talked about it, didn't hear any information about when the meeting would be or when we could have the meeting.
Someone from your organization actually accepted.
I left you several messages to call and never called even about this issue here.
Okay, well, hey, it can easily be canceled. It's not a problem.
Yeah, what was the date you said, Friday?
Friday the 5th.
Yeah, we didn't know about it.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it afterwards. Someone from your organization accepted it, so that's why it's on our calendar. Okay. The Sacramento County Road Commission is working on Dixie Highway. And so we're asking that you all are, just be mindful and slow the speeds down on Dixie Highway. While they're doing the construction will be held throughout the summer. And to follow up with that on May 15th at 6 p.m. here and the Township, the Road Commission will be here to talk about the Summer 2024 project that's going to happen at Dixie, on Dixie Highway Junction Road, south all the way to Willard Road. So we're going to be doing a lot of construction on Dixie Highway. So that meeting again is May 15th at 6 p.m. here with the Road Commission to talk about that 2024 project. We'd like to welcome, in this summer, we will be welcoming a CEDAM AmeriCorps member. We have a new member that will be joining our team to help build our capacity, that will be working for around a year here, and they will be working on blight elimination projects, volunteer coordination, business registration, and other related projects that's related to the Township. And so they'll be coming and joining our team, and hopefully learning and gleaning some more skills in order to put in their toolbox to work in other communities after leaving Bridgeport. Lastly, I just want to thank the Township Board, the Township Department heads, and all the staff of Bridgeport Charter Township, the DDA, the County Clerk, Vanessa Guerra, and Help Restoration, B&S Heating and Cooling for a successful cleanup day on Friday the 21st. It was an amazing turnout. We hit over some pretty decent areas with well over 200 bags of garbage that was collected throughout the streets of Bridgeport. I want to especially acknowledge Melvin Hall. He's a resident. He wasn't able to physically go out, but he donated cases of water, hot dogs, buns, condiments, and an electric grill to feed the volunteers that came out on that Friday. I'm encouraging the residents of Bridgeport to continue to clean and pick up trash wherever. It was very disheartening that after we cleaned up on Williamson in particular, someone called and said they saw someone throw trash out their car right there on the road after we just left.
That's what they want to do.
So I'm encouraging that we help our residents and help each other make sure that our communities stay clean. I'm encouraging churches and school groups and residents to get together and continue to just pick up trash. We don't want a litter community. We don't want a dirty community. We go other places and we see how clean it is and we marvel, but we can have the same thing when we put the same effort into making sure that our community is clean. And that is all that I have. Thank you.
Okay. A couple of things. For those of you who do get our minutes and agenda for the DDA, the township meetings and those kind of things, they're constant contact. We also, when we get these reports from the fire police and Michelle, those get printed along with at the bottom of the minutes when we send out the minutes on constant contact. Now, if any of you are not aware, if you want to get those notifications through the email, all you need to do is call the township, and Tracy's taking care of most of that. All you have to do is give her an email. Don't have to tell her who you are, where you live, or anything if you don't want to. And then you'll start receiving that documentation. It does help quite a bit, and I've asked people that if you're getting it and you hear stories about something going on and you know it's not quite the way that it's being presented, have them call us, call the township, talk to Michelle, talk to me, talk to one of the board members, whoever you want to talk to. We'll be more than happy to give you the answers. If we can't answer that specific question, I'll get back with you, Michelle will get back to somebody, will get back with you and give you that information. It's very, very hard to get it out to everyone. Let me give you an example of how that works, okay? With the trash can, that was discussed here at the board meeting last June, last July, last August. We had people here from Waste Management discussing it, going over what the process was going to be. Then the barrels came out, and I understand some people weren't aware that was going to happen. We are part of a consortium, if you will, of townships within Saginaw County. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, like 16 different townships are involved with that. Okay. And the Mid-Michigan Waste Authority contract was up. It's a 10-year contract. So they negotiated a new contract. And this is through that group. There's representatives from every one of those townships. Michelle, our manager, is the one, and Tracy's the alternate, although sometimes they go, both of them. I've gone myself to get some information, and then we try and get that out there. Now, just let me give you an example of getting information out there. The barrels, okay? Everybody got 2 barrels, okay? Now, along with that, there was a laminated sheet giving you the schedule of when the recycling was going to be picked up, which is every other week. Last Wednesday was the first time that they were not going to pick up recycling. In the morning, I took a ride through the township. There were a lot of yard waste barrels up there. Okay. Now, as it turned out, I was going down one street, no traffic. Gun was coming up with both barrels, so I kind of pulled over and introduced myself, and I told him that now the recycling is every other week. Now that's the thing, that's what most townships went with, because it costs a lot less than to have it picked up every single week. And these are good sized barrels. Maybe you're not aware, but if you want smaller barrels, it's relative. They're like 84 gallons, and these are like 94, 96, whatever. Pretty good size. But you can get smaller ones, okay? So anyway, I stopped at this gentleman and explained to him that I pick up every other week. I said, hey, did you go over that schedule that they gave you on that laminated sheet? I had about 3 minutes. Well, okay. I don't have time, nor does any of the board members, to go to every single house and explain that sheet, okay? Maybe people will catch on, and I think once they start utilizing it, it's typical, something new. People, oh no, that's crap, I don't want to do that. And I understand there are some shortcomings with it. Every township is going through the same thing. Bay City's been doing that for years. Up north, it's been all over the place. So this is something that is not just us in Bridgeport or in the county itself. It's all over the place. I mean, what it does is a lot of times with the little arms that come up and pick these things up, they've been having a problem for years getting people, and some of these people ride a garbage truck and they're lifting these sometimes 40, 50 pound and dumping them all. That wind up with a lot of injuries. And this is going to help a lot. Although my recycling guy, well, Bridgeport, same recycling guy, he said he doesn't like that idea because if he gets out and back in, he's not going to get fat. He's worried about getting fat. He sits there and operates that with the joystick. So anyway, hopefully we can get through that. Any concerns that you have, don't be afraid to contact us and we'll help in any way we can. Now getting back to the police reports and the fire reports, and you get a list of the calls and all that kind of thing. I had a discussion with Michelle about that we could try and put something together to show the complaints, because people, you hear it all the time, oh, they don't do anything, they don't want to. It's a very cumbersome process. It's a very frustrating process. There's a number of situations where we've written tickets, we're into court. Ron just had a couple recently where the violators were fined. One of $100,000. And maybe now they'll come around and start doing what they should do to keep the neighborhood up. So some of these were set out there. This is just the first version because it was just something we're implementing. And when you look at it, one that's there, type of call, damage, dangerous, or vacant building, one. This includes buildings damaged by fire, inoperable vehicles. I don't need to go through everything, but property maintenance, zoning, trash, tall grass and weeds. And then below that are the streets that the violation occurred on. And the next column over shows you what the violation is. Okay? Now, like Michelle said, she's gotten this group of people together within the township here that handle various things, and they've been meeting occasionally to try and implement the program and get the kinks ironed out and that kind of thing. Can't promise that if you have a complaint about property or something that we're going to be able to fix it in a week or two. They say that sometimes it's very frustrating because you wind up in court and then the court date is 2 months down the road and you get there and all of a sudden for some reason it gets canceled and they'll restart it for another 2 months. Well, if people haven't cleaned the place up, I understand some residents then, it's our fault. We should be doing something. Well, we're trying, but people don't see that. That's why I say, call and ask some questions. If you don't like the answer, talk to Lee. But anyway, all right, I'm rattling on long enough here. We just been recently working on a new contract for one of our newly created unit within the fire department. That's 2 people, which they have a right to form a union. And we just concluded negotiations, Michelle and I, and with Tracy's help, went through that. Now we've got a contract. We just got a copy of it today, so in next month's meeting, by then the board will have time to read it over if they choose to. It's all boring stuff, but then we'll vote on it next week, usually next month. Come Saturday. Did you have a copy of that for Michelle? Oh,
it was on the table there too.
Okay, yeah. Our county commissioner is here. Stand up. Maybe you could talk about it very open for public comment, but yeah. Anyway, Saturday there's going to be a pancake breakfast. Kelvin, Judy Shelton. So Sheldon brought this up, and so I understand our district 94th district state rep, Amos Neal will be here. Of course, Michelle will be here. Snap, Sheldon Matthews, better known as Snap, will be here. And it's going to run from 9 o'clock until 11 o'clock. Is that right, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hearing that, or saying that, motion to adjourn would be in order. Okay.
So moved.
I know I'm out of order, Mr. Chairman, but I called the people with the cans today, and they said if you want smaller cans, you need to get them before 6 weeks. After you keep them 6 weeks, you have to pay for the smaller cans. If you call, that's what they told me today.
Let her explain, they're on that board.
Okay.
I know the answer, they know it better.
No, you only have a 30-day, when they were just, they wanted to deliver all of the cans, and then after the 30 days, you can call and ask for a smaller can. There's no cost to return.
They told me you pay for them after you keep them 6 weeks.
Oh.
That was this afternoon.
Okay, we went through a motion to adjourn here.
Did we get a second?
No, we didn't get a second, so now we'll have board comments instead. Okay. Brandon. Darryl.
No.
Lee.
Yeah, I just want to comment. She's going to get mad. but I had the opportunity, because Tracy was on vacation last week, to put this board packet together with the staff, and they were great, whatever, but there's a lot of things she goes through to get this board packet together.
He's been doing this so long, he doesn't understand.
That's it.
That it?
Yep.
Jimmy?
No.
Calvin?
No comments.
Yep. I just want to again say congratulations to Officer Turner. And then I also had to comment about the cleanup. It was so fun. We had over 50 people there, and I have to say a lot of it was to our township manager pushing it. I know I hauled 6 truckloads of trash bags after I cleaned up the ditches at the parking ride. One of the things I found in the ditch there, are you ready? A dead fish. So I got the first fish this year.
Too far gone to have a fish dinner?
I guess, yeah. But it was fun, and I hope we do another one, and thank you for all your work on this.
Yeah, it was, see, because of our age, I think it was Lee and I worked when they were bringing trailers and stuff in and put them in the big dumpsters that they had. We had a little helper with a big front loader, but yeah, it was kind of fun. And then the girls with the guys and went with their pickup truck, bag full, we threw all those in there, so.
One of the guys that brought in the 9 mattresses that, you know, would have been strewn along the ditches and somebody's yard, whatever, so that was worth it.
Okay, second on the motion to adjourn. Support. Motion made and supported. Second and whatever. All those in favor say aye.